It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is episode F71. I thought I was going to say something, but I can't remember what I was going to say. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well on this January 6th. Hope it's better than the last time we had this very specific date on a very specific year. Yeah. Okay, the first word in this episode is few, F-E-W, first form. This form is a pronoun from before the 12th century. A pronoun? It means not many persons or things, and the examples are few were present. Not many people or things, persons or things were present at our hoopla dance. We also have few of his stories are true. Oh, he's a big old fibber. Fibber. Gonna see that word in the next episode, I think. I recorded it already. I think it's in there somewhere. It must be in there. There's fiber. Where's fibber? Fib for sure. Maybe that's what it was, just fib. Anyway, oh my god, off track. He gets off track so easily when his brain is like, what's that pretty thing? Okay, so few of his stories were true. He was a fibber. There's so few of his stories. All of my stories are true, but they are not good stories. This word is from Middle English few, from Old English fjawa, which is akin to the Old High German fo, which means little bit. From the Latin paucus, which means little. From pauper, which means poor, which looks like the word pauper. I don't know how it went from pauper to paucus, then to few. From the Greek, paid or pace, which means child. Children are little. They're also poor because they don't make money. Also from the Sanskrit, putra, which means son. I mean, I understand the connection of children and little, but you go from son to child, to poor to little. Very interesting. Okay, so that is few. There is I think it's a pretty popular high-end distillery called Few, which just happens to be in my hometown, and they are now internationally known. They're named after, maybe unofficially or officially, named after Francis E. Willard, who I believe was one of the people who really tried to push for the thing when they were getting rid of all the alcohol in the earlier 20th century, prohibition. And so they're like, we're gonna name it after her, this very strong alcohol. Okay, my sound effect today is gonna be... The next word is the second form of few, adjective from before the 12th century. Number 1, consisting of or amounting to only a small number. And the example is one of our few pleasures. We are describing the pleasures as few because there are not many of them. We don't get to have a lot of pleasures these days with all of the political nonsense and the climate change. We are so... I don't even want to go down that route. Consisting of or counting only a small number, we just have a few pleasures. In our life, some of our pleasures are movies, taking walks, eating good food. Number 2, at least some, but indeterminately small in numbers. So there's some, but it's so little tiny number. This is used with a word a, as in the example, caught a few fish. I just got a few. I don't know how many, just a small number of them. I didn't count. My bucket only got filled this much. Me personally, I don't be catching the fish. I caught a few fish. No, I didn't. I caught a few snoozes. Fewness, that is a noun. And I assume it's the same etymology. Oh, we got a phrase. Here's a fun phrase for everybody. Few and far between. It means few in number and infrequently met, and the synonym is the word rare. Rare is much easier and quicker to say. Few and far, there's that fish is very few and far between. It's a very long, drawn-out way to say there's not a lot of them, and you don't see them often. When I think of the word rare, I automatically think of the original, I think it was the original Animal Crossing game, which I had. I did not play it for a very long time, and I did not go on to play the other games. This would have been in like 2003-ish on the whatever system that was, the Wii, I guess. Was it the Wii? Must have been. Was it? And I were just, looking up the charts of like, you could catch these insects and you could catch these fish, and they were all designated as like rare, common, extremely rare. And so I remember like, oh, you got to find the specific time of day when this fish is swimming around so you can catch it. I think I got some of those rare ones. Oh, that was a whole lifetime ago. Literally about half of my life ago. Okay. Now we have the third form of few. Noun from before the 12th century. Number 1, a small number of units or individuals, as in the example, a few of them. Just a few. Now, how is this different? So the first form of this word few was the pronoun. And so you're talking about people or things. You're replacing them with the word few. Few were present, so they are the thing. But in this one, this third form, which is the noun, a few of them. So it's you're not describing them. You're not replacing their. I don't know how. What's another way to describe that? A few of them. There's a few. It's not the pronoun. It's the noun. What makes a pronoun a pronoun? It went professional. It gets paid. Number 2, a special limited number. The example is the discriminating few. There's only a few people who get to be discriminating. Maybe critics, movie critics. There's only a handful of them, a few of them compared to the rest of the population. And so there's a limited number. Anything else for this one? I don't think so. So we're going to go fewer. First form. This is also a pronoun from before the 12th century. Interesting. A small number of persons or things, which I believe was the same definition as before. No, it's very similar. The original definition for few was not many persons or things. Fewer is a small number of persons or things, which are nouns. I don't know how to use that in context. Maybe you can use it the same way as the first one. Fewer were present. Fewer of his stories are true. That one doesn't work so well. No. The second form of fewer is an adjective, and it says comparative of the word few. So I guess what that's saying is that there's the few adjective, and then one of the other versions is fewer, and I guess, is there another one that's fewest? I don't know if I've heard fewest. The fewest? There's the least amount? It also says usage. For usage information, see the word less. And I am aware that there's a whole big conversation about less and fewer and which one is proper. I'm so tempted to go read it, but I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I don't think so. Okay, well, you gotta wait then for a while to learn more about fewer and how you can use it, how you are allowed to use it. Next we have Futrils. Fewtrils. Futrils. Noun from circa 1750. This is English dialect, and the definition is things of little value, and the synonym is trifles. So which came first, futrils or trifles? The origin is unknown. We know it came from about 1750, but who said it? What was the context? We're not sure. I mean, if they know 1750, then they know it was written down somewhere. Where? Futrils, things of little value. I'm just surrounded by futrils all the time. I've never heard of this one, but I think it's a fun word to say. Now, we're going to go on to Fey, Fey, like Tina Fey, spelled the same way. Adjective from before the 12th century. Number 1A is chiefly Scottish, and it means fated to die. The synonym is doomed. I feel like I vaguely remember some other word in the fated section, fate, in the dictionary, and maybe there was some other Scottish word that was related. I have a vague memory of that one. So yeah, if a Scottish person is doomed, they are going down a pathway that's not very good, then they would say that person is fey. Yeah, it's an adjective. They are a fey person because they are doomed. They are fated to die. I'm sure there's a connection there to that word fated etymologically. 1B, marked by a foreboding of death or calamity. Yep, this is not a Scottish one, but this seems very related. Foreboding of death or calamity. So calamitous. We are all fated to something. There's going to be bad something happens all the time. Bad something happens all the time. Bad something happens all the time. Now we got 2A. Able to see into the future, and the synonym is visionary. Yes, this definitely seems related to the word fate. So if you are a visionary, if you can see into the future, if you are aware, if you are a futurist, if you think about how things are going, and you are maybe able to predict things a little bit, then you would be described as a fey person. To be marked by an otherworldly air or attitude. Ooh. No example there. I want to know what that means exactly. 2C. The synonyms are crazy and touched. So maybe, we're talking about people who can see the future, know the future, and people are like, nope, sorry, that doesn't seem right. You are crazy. You are touched by some evil thing. People aren't allowed to do that. So back in the day, they would call them fey. So many ways that you could be considered this word fey. 3A, excessively refined, and the synonym is precious. We've taken another direction here. I am not fey in this way. I am not excessively refined. I'm only slightly refined. I have fewer refinedness. 3B, quaintly unconventional. The synonym is campy. Quaintly unconventional. You're unconventional, but you're like a cute little cabin in the woods because you are quaint, but weird and unconventional. Feyly is an adverb and feyness is a noun. And we got to look at the etymology. Middle English fey, Old English feg, akin to the Old High German fegi, which means doomed. And perhaps of Old English fa, which means hostile or outlawed. Ooh, maybe if you were doomed, maybe you were hostile and you were sent away, outlawed. There's more at the word foe, F-O-E. We're bringing a whole other thing into this campy camp. Such an interesting word. I am not aware of this one. This makes me now think of Where did Tina Fey's last name came from? Did she make it up? What's the family situation? Does it go back to someone in her life who was a visionary, crazy, or touched? Were they outlawed? Were they doomed? Because last names are typically like somebody's job or it's just something about their life. And then they stick. I'm going to call her up right now and say, Tina Fey, where's your last name come from? All right, next is the word fez. Noun from circa 1803. The plural fezzes can be spelled with one Z or two Zs. Twosies. This is a brimless, cone-shaped, flat-crowned hat that usually has a tassel, is usually made of red felt, and is worn especially by men in Eastern Mediterranean countries. And fezzed is an adjective. That man in that Mediterranean country, he is fezzed because he is wearing a fez. This is actually a French word. Interesting. Well, France is on the Mediterranean. Their word fez with a capital F, which is a city in Morocco. I think, isn't that in Africa? But I think the French people went over and they were like, yeah, we're going to take some of this land. Fez, Morocco. And so maybe they must have been wearing these fezzes in Morocco. And then they were like, that's a cool hat. We're going to name you after the city we saw you in. Even though I'm sure they were wearing these hats in lots of other places too. There is a picture of a man wearing a fez. It is a little black and white drawing. And it's cone shaped, which means it sort of starts to come to a point. It's conical, but the top of it is flat. And then there's a tassel that comes from the center of the top. It doesn't show the color, but I assume it's red. Now here's the thing about this word. For some reason, I think from my grandpa, my mom has two fezzes. One fez. Two fezzes. And a partridge in a pear tree. So they say Medina legal, and my grandpa was a lawyer, and so I assume they came from him. He was probably, this one doesn't say legal on it, and now my tassels have gotten all tangled up in this thing over here. I think I'm supposed to put one on, but see, the thing is, I don't know if this is disrespectful in any way. And we got to put the tassel in the front so you can see all the tasseliness. I don't know if this is disrespectful. I don't know what sort of group he was a part of to get fezzes. I think in parades sometimes there's the guys that drive around in little cars. What are they called? And they got fezzes on. But it's very fancy. It's very, very nice. The tassels are wonderful, it's very soft and smooth, and I don't know what they're made out of. The embroidery is beautiful. It's very gold and shiny, and I don't know what all these things mean, and I should probably put a link in the show notes for what is this? Is it a secret society? Am I exposing something? I don't think so. I'm not really sure what the details are. But then there's this beautiful, it's a sword of some kind, a saber, what do they call that kind of sword? It's blingy, so much bling on this sword pin that's on the side of it. Those literally could be diamonds. This thing could be worth a whole lot of money, and I have no idea. So I'm gonna hide it away so you never find it. So those are the fezzes. They have some holes on the top for airflow, I assume. I'm not gonna wear it for the rest of the episode. I think that's a little too much. But anyway, I was like, fezzes, we got fezzes. And pheasants? We don't have any pheasants. So those are my fezzes. My mom has them, and I guess maybe I will inherit them. Maybe my sister and I will each take one someday, way, way, way down the road, many years from now. We got to keep the fezzes in the family. That's the old phrase that people say. All right, that was the last FE word. Now we have FF. abbreviation for number 1, folios. Number 2, and the following ones. The etymology there says it's the F from following. Well, I know that one, but why is there 2 Fs? Number 3 is fortissimo. That is a term in music when they want you to play very, very loud. They say Fs, 2 Fs here. One F is forte, and 2 Fs is fortissimo. That's it for the abbreviations. Now we're gonna go. We have FGM. FGM. All caps. Abbreviation for here it is. Female genital mutilation, and of course that was spoken about not very long ago. So you can go hear us talk about that and read up about it. FGM. That's how it's abbreviated. FHA, abbreviation for Federal Housing Administration. I think this fez needs to go right over here. If we can make that, oh yeah. You can wear the fez. I'm not gonna wear the fez. It got pretty warm in that short amount of time. How does that look? That's wonderful. Okay, now we have, FHA, abbreviation Federal Housing Administration. Did I say that? Now I did. Next we have fiaker. I think it's fiaker. Have to double check this pronunciation. Let's see. Fiaker. Fiaker. Oh boy, my book is falling apart. I'm going to need to do something about that one. So this fiaker word is spelled Fiacre. It looks like the word acre with a fiacre, but it tells me it's fiaker. This is a noun from 1698. The plural says it's the same pronunciation, but you put an S at the end. Or you could say fiacres. Fiacres. That's another way to say it. So what is it, though? It is a small hackney coach. Huh? A small hackney coach is a fiacre. And are we talking about a sports coach? And they have to be small? And what's hackney exactly in this context? I am so confused about this one. But what I'm not confused about is where this word comes from. It's French, from the Hotel Saint Fiacre in Paris. I wonder if they're still around. Are they still? And what's the coach? A small hackney coach? Oh, it's probably like a car, that kind of coach. And it's small, and so maybe this hotel would shuttle people around in their little coach. But I don't know why it's hackney. I don't think it's hackney the way I think of hackney, so I guess we just have to wait for the H's. Fiacre. Okay. Now we have fiancé. This one is, you can emphasize the on, fiancé, or you can emphasize the last syllable, fiancé. Why do you emphasize one or the other? Is that a personal preference kind of thing? My fiancé. My fiancé. Fiancé, no, Beyonce, my fiancé. That has to be a joke somebody said at some point. So, fiancé, noun from 1838. By the way, I got to spell this one. Very important. Fiance, and the accent on the E is the acute accent. It goes up on the right. So, this is a man engaged to be married. Fiancé. So then, does the other person... I mean, first of all, we got these silly genderized words. Let's just skip over that, because whatever. So then, the other person calls this person their fiancé. With a one E at the end is the man I put in air quotes because it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. And this word, where does it come from? It's French, from the verb fiancer, which means to promise or betroth. That makes sense. From Old English, fiancé. From fiance, which means promise or trust. From fear, to trust. From vulgar Latin, fidare, which means it's alternative of the Latin fidere. Doesn't say what it means. And there's more at the word bide. So, yes, it's all about trusting the other person, betrothing, being betrothed to them by somebody else, or in an arranged marriage situation, or promising to them that you will marry them, basically. So that's where the word comes from. And now we're going to talk about another word. It's the word fiancé again, or fiancé. Now, what's interesting is that the fiancé version is mentioned first, and the spelling is different because we've just added an E at the end. After the E with the accent, there's another E, just a plain E, no accents. So this is a noun from 1835, 3 years earlier, and it is a woman engaged to be married. Fancy that. Amazing that we got both words right next to each other. Yes, it's all the same etymology. It's the woman, fiancé, spelled with 2 E's, and the man is fiancé with 1 E, and it's fiancé or fiancé. I mean, I guess maybe if we're trying to be real accurate about it, the man with 1 E is fiance. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I have it wrong. It's the same pronunciation in the same order. I was wrong about that. So there's no way to know which one you're talking about unless you get it from context. Who are we talking about? Or you see it in spelling written out. I have been a fiance, I guess. In my first marriage, we were engaged for a long time. My second marriage to Sharon, my current wife, current and last wife probably, we were briefly engaged because we did a Vegas wedding. And so it was like a matter of days that we were like, hey, let's go do this thing. And so it was a very more chill engagement. We never called each other a fiance. It's very hard and weird to do. You're just like, I think we should say my betrothed. Yes, that would be a fun word to start using. Okay, now we got to move on to more words. It is now the time for the word fioncito, or fioncito. Ooh, Cheetos. I saw a Cheeto truck recently, and I was like, Cheetos. I haven't had Cheetos in so long because they're not vegan, but ooh, Cheetos. So this is spelled Fianchetto. You can see why people want to say fiancito, but technically the correct pronunciation, quote unquote, is fionchetto. I think it's ketto. So this is a verb from 1927, starting with transitive. To develop in a chess game to the second square on the adjacent knight's file. And the thing, the piece that you are developing, that you are doing this to, is the bishop. So you are moving your bishop in a chess game to the second square on the adjacent knight's file. I don't know what the word file means here in chess because I didn't study chess. So is the bishop and the knight are right next to each other, and the bishop moves at an angle. So if the pawn in front of the knight is moved out of the way, then the bishop can move 1 square forward in front of the knight. I think I have this right. I love it when things rhyme. It doesn't happen all of the time. So that move is called the fianchetto. Now we have intransitive, which is a fianchetto. Oh, to fianchetto a bishop. To fianchetto a bishop is fianchetto. Now, I am very curious where this word comes from, and I hope you are too. Let's learn together. It's just called an opening in chess. That's what the word means. Italian, clearly. Diminutive of fianco, which means side or flank. From Old French, flanc, and there's more at the word flank. So the knight is on the bishop's flank, on their side, adjacent, next to. And so that's where this word comes from. Like, hey, knight, what's going on? How's the wife and the kids? Pardon me, I'm going to walk in front of you and just stand there. And that was my fianchetto move. It's just literally moving to the side, the space in front of the guy on your side. All right, good one. Now we got... We have the word fiasco or fiasco, first form, F-I-A-S-C-O. This is a noun from circa 1854. A complete failure. That's the definition. Is this podcast a fiasco? No, it is not a fiasco. It is the opposite of a fiasco. It's a full-on success. So, that's it for the word, but what's the etymology say? I'm very curious about this. Never thought about the etymology of fiasco. It's a fun word. It's French from Italian. Fare fiasco. I guess that's a two-word phrase in Italian, which literally means to make a bottle, like a pop bottle, a water bottle, a milk bottle. To make a bottle, fare fiasco. Maybe that's how they said it. I apologize if I am wrong. So I don't really know how that turned into a complete failure. Is this one of those one of those phrases in a language that is sort of this metaphorical thing that the local people know what it means, but everybody else is confused by it? So maybe the Italians have this phrase. He made a bottle out of it. Fare fiasco. It's a terrible. It's a complete failure. I don't know. I'm curious to look up more about this, maybe. But in the meantime, we're going to go on to... My sound effect is a fiasco. Now we have the second form of fiasco, which is a noun from 1887, and the synonyms are bottle and flask. So that one makes a whole lot of sense. I guess the word fiasco maybe means bottle. Maybe we'll learn about that in a second. But, especially, a bulbous, long-necked, straw-covered bottle for wine. It's covered in straw, not like a sippy straw, but like, the straw that the pigs built their house out of. Not a good building material. It's long-necked and it's bulbous, and you put it over your wine bottle. I guess. Fiasco. So, is there more? Yes, of course there's more etymology. It's Italian, from Lower Latin fiasco, which means bottle. And there's more at the word flask. Flask, fiasco. Ooh, I can see a connection there for sure. The I turned into an L. Flasco. But how it became a complete failure, that one still boggles the mind. All right, now we have one more word for this episode. It's the word fiat. Fiat. You can say fiat. Any of those. It is spelled F-I-A-T. I just say fiat. The only fiat I know is a car. So I am as curious as you are to learn more about this. It is a noun from circa 1631. Number 1, a command or act. Oh, act of will. A command or act of will that creates something without or as if without further effort. Okay. Create something without further effort. You're not putting more effort into the thing to make it happen? A command or act of will. that creates something without further effort. What does that mean? Please explain this to me. Okay, number 2, an authoritative determination, and the synonym is dictate, as in a fiat of conscience. The fiat of conscience. So is it that your conscience is dictating the thing of what you do? I mean, yeah, that's kind of true. Your brain, your mind, you're unconsciously doing things. An authoritative determination. Number 3, an authoritative or arbitrary order. The synonym is decree, as in government by fiat. And so I guess in this context, the government is making these decrees happen, these orders. They're arbitrary. They're like, whatever. So interesting. None of this really made full sense to me, which bothers me. But maybe the etymology will help. Let's see. It's Latin. Fiat is Latin, and it means let it be done. Let it be done. So that's we can see a connection to the decrees, the dictation, the dictator is saying do this. Interesting. Now what else we got? From fieri, which means to become or be done, and there's more at the word be. B-E. Interesting. Now, I already recorded the next episode because I wanted to hold off on this one so I could get my fezzes in. And so the next word, or the first word in the next episode, is fiat money. And I still don't really understand why it's fiat money. I don't understand. I still don't understand. So, with that, now I will pick a word of the episode. Today we had fewer, futrals, fez, FGM, FHA, fiacre, fiancé, fianchetto, fiasco, and fiat. There were a few of these words that I was fascinated by the definitions and the etymologies. Which one do we think was the most interesting? Possibly the one that is calling out to me. I mean, fey was very interesting. Lots of just a word that I was not aware of, and it can mean a number of things. Crazy, touched, visionary, doomed. What else? Fiasco was pretty interesting. Oh, I think I need to pick fiasco as the word of the episode. This song is a fiasco. I turned it into a bottle. Put the song in the bottle and cork it up so it never comes out. Fiasco. Whatever. All right, now let's talk about a movie real quick. Okay, so the next one is the movie we saw in the theater called Heretic. And just yesterday, I think the Golden Globes, the nominations for the Golden Globes were announced, and this movie was nominated for at least 1 or 2, I think. I don't know the exact number. And it is, I think it's labeled as a horror movie. I don't know if there's any other sort of genres that it could be considered, but it is fascinating and smart and well done and makes you think, and I'm not sure how much I want to say about it other than the main piece at the beginning, which is two women from who are Mormon, right? Jesus of Latter-day Saints or something. They're the ones who go up to the doors and say, "Hey, can we talk to you about Jesus?" And then they meet up with a man in a house, and then things progress. And it's very good, very well done, and I recommend you watch the movie Heretic. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.
Good news.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Ryan from the Blue Rose Magazine,
I am Em Marinelli from the Twin Peaks Tattoo Podcast.
and we are here to invite you to class. I wonder who's going to show up.
Martha Grimes. Here. Donna Hayward. Here. Audrey Horn. Here. James Hurley.
You.
The Healing Magic of Twin Peaks is a series of 4 workshops that run from March, April, May, and June in 2025 and cover the topics of dreams.
Is this real, Ben? Or some strange and twisted dream?
Seers.
Laura! Oh, Laura, my baby! Oh!
Laura as the one.
Your Laura disappeared. It's just me now.
And also the kind of magic and the spell of Twin Peaks, which is the aesthetics, the production, the music, and all of what that entails.
And it looks like we're getting a question from someone. I don't know how we're doing that on a commercial, but we have a question.
I've already gone places. I just want to stay where I am.
Well, thanks, Carl Rod. I'm glad you asked that. No, you don't have to leave your house. You could totally Harold Smith this. This is all done over Zoom. All you need is internet. You know, just like a pole with some wires. For more information, you can go right out to thebluerosemag.com. Half the seats are already sold. So I wouldn't dilly and I wouldn't dally.
Scott will obviously bring his shenanigans.
What is shenanigans?
Nonsense, mischief, often a deceitful or treacherous trick.
I'm a psychotherapist and a psychology professor, and I teach a class on Twin Peaks and depth psychology. So I'm going to bring some of that into class, but it's very accessible. Even if you don't know anything about psychology, you'll still have a fun time.
Are you unhappy, Bobby?
Shouldn't I be?
Well, that's not for me to say.
And we're going to have a special guest for each workshop. We're not announcing that because we want you showing up for Em and myself. But we will say that in the first one, it's going to be Charlotte Stewart.
Everybody ready?
She'll do a question and answer. And we know that for the Laura one, we're going to have Courtney Stallings, who wrote Laura's Ghost, but we are going to have someone for each class. And I think that's going to be very exciting.
That's a yes.
Our workshops will be very trauma-informed, told through a feminist lens. We will also be inclusive to all types of learners. If you're an introvert, we've got you. We also will have, a planned agenda and a syllabus and things like that. But are we sure where this will lead us?
I have no idea where this will lead us, but I have a definite feeling it will be a place both wonderful and strange.
I don't know about Harry's face there. Does he have faith in us? I'm not sure about that. But I do. So go to bluerosemag.com, reserve your seat now, and join us for the healing magic of Twin Peaks.